Right now, I'm at an event that costs $50,000 a year to go to. One of the people who own and is kind of running the event, he has a real estate portfolio of about 10,000 units, which come out to a few billion dollars. And someone who's a little bit, he's trying to grow. He has a short-term rental business right now. He's trying to grow and scale as much as possible. He was asking that guy, what is the key to scaling? Because he says he's kind of stuck right now in like a 250 to 1,000 unit range. And what this guy told him was amazing. He said, first off, what are you spending most of your time doing right now? And then this guy said, whatever. He said, you need to find a way to hire experience. He said, you have two options. You can either pay more to hire experience, someone who has done this for years and years on end, or you have to train somebody to do it. But he said, if you really want to scale, training somebody to do it from scratch, that's going to be take way too much hassle. It is going to take way too much time. He said, pay for the experience. That is going to be worth it. He said, because what are you spending? Maybe 10 hours a week on this thing right now? That makes a huge difference if you're kind of running this team. He said, what would happen if you hired someone that worked on that 40 hours a week? How much additional utility and extra productivity would you get from that? And this guy was thinking, he was like, holy shit. He's like, that would probably make me an extra $200,000 a month or whatever. He's like, yeah, what are you gonna spend 100 grand to hire that person that you've been delegating and waiting to hold off because you didn't know if it would have the highest ROI? Well, if somebody's been doing this for a long period of time and they actually have the experience, pay the extra because the utility that they provide is actually way higher than finding the cheap person. And so that was incredibly interesting. Then what he said, when I'm looking at a deal that I'm looking to purchase, it always has to have a story. And I was kind of confused like that. So I was like, what do you mean it has to have a story? And he said, for example, right now I'm buying a billboard company. And he said, the story is, so I said, what's the story with the billboard company? And he said, well, you're buying it for $50 million. And he said within 1 year, he's going to be able to make the income on that around $5 million a year to where you're getting 10% a year or whatever, maybe a little over that, just to have this thing. While at the same time, you get 80% tax write-off year one. So he said, this is an incredible story. I said, well, how are you going to increase income on it so much? He said, you know how a billboard has two sides? You have one side facing, let's say this is the billboard. You have one side facing this way, one side facing this way. I was like, yeah. He said, well, right now, these are all old billboards. He said, what he's going to do is he's going to take them all down and put up electronic ones because you go from having two renters, you have one renter on each side, to having eight renters because the billboard rotates every 3 seconds, rotating from ad revenue one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. And he said that brings revenues up quite a bit because you're renting to more people, kind of what a lot of people on the short-term rental business do. They're just getting more money per month because they have more visitors. Same thing with the billboards. So he said he's done this before. He's pretty confident. He already has all like the contracts and stuff lined up. So he's going to be increasing income a lot. At the same time, he's getting a huge tax deductible write-off. So he said that's the story for that one. Usually what he looks at is 250-ish units. That's just like a big complex with 250-ish units. And he said usually what he's looking for, it's been around for like maybe the 1990s. It's an older property. It has poor maintenance. The management team isn't too good. Rents are behind the other locations. So basically, what he's saying is when you are buying something, there has to be a reason that you can force some sort of additional benefit than what they are already getting for it. That is what's going to make it worth it. If you are buying something that's already perfect, he said you have no hope to make it better. So he likes value add situations where you can go in and you can tweak a few different things and add value to where now they're making a lot more money. And that's kind of what he's been doing for the past 40 years or whatever. So I thought that was very, very interesting. So then another thing that they were talking about is there is always another opportunity. Everybody gets caught up in this FOMO where let's say you learn something. You're like, holy shit, I have to do that right now. I am very, very victim to this. Someone gives me an idea and I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. I have to spend all my time. I have to do this right now. And then you realize, wait a minute, the reason why it sounds like such a great idea is because you were just promised the results, and that is what intrigues you. But If the results were that easy, every single person would have already have done that. So there is a catch to everything. There is always another opportunity. So make sure you do your due diligence with anything before you kind of change your business in some manner. You have to think through the second, third, and fourth consequences to that. Same thing when you're buying a property, that there is a reason why they're selling, and you need to figure that out. You need to figure out all the other things that could go wrong, why it would go wrong. So don't just think, I have to do this, let me buy now, because that's usually when you get screwed. Most of the people here don't care that much about money anymore because they've already made a bunch of money. So what a lot of them care about is freedom to do whatever they want when they want, as well as freedom for the next generation of children and their kids, their grandkids. What is the world going to look like? How can they kind of shape the best possible world so their kids can flourish and their grandkids can flourish in an environment where we're losing ever more freedom every single day? So they are thinking hugely. What can I do to impact my grandkids' life to the highest possible degree? I think that is very selfless in a lot of aspects where I am often caught up on myself as to what am I going to do to make or scale this business, where the people who have made it, they no longer care about themselves to that degree. Now they are thinking, what can I do for other people to make the world the best possible place? I'm not in that situation right now. I just wonder if you can take the same results, because once they cross the finish line of already having a bunch of money, that's no longer their goal. And pretty much all of their goals are impacting other people. So if that's what brings them satisfaction and joy, what can I learn from that and apply it to my life? Because I'm incredibly selfish. I spend all day, every day thinking about my business, how I'm going to scale, how I'm going to grow, what I'm going to do, what can I do to impact myself. And then I think, well, that's probably going to have a second and third degree consequence for other people around me, because if I'm improving myself, other people will benefit as well. Because if I make more money, I can help out my parents or whatever. That's just not what I see them doing. They're taking their time, which is by far their most valuable asset, their money and their resources, trying to impact the world in a better place. I'm going to need to ponder on this a lot more because I don't have a great answer. It is more so just an observation of these hyper successful people that I've met over the past week. So that's a bit of a confusing question to myself, but I'll leave it at that.